Hey guys, it's Mary and welcome back to Study Journey. Welcome back to the Python series. This is episode 5 of the Recursion Problem Set series. And in this episode, we're going to be moving on to part 2 of Caesar Cipher, and we're going to be looking at the plain text message. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so in the previous episode, we just did part 1, which is message, and then now we're going to go on to part 2, which is plain text message, and we're going to be filling out this class. So it says to fill in the methods of the plain text message class found in ps4b.py, which we have over here, and it says according to the specifications in the doc screens, which is the red text right here. So first, in the initiate part, it states to initialize a plain text message object. And then for the text, it is a string, and that is the message's text. And then the shift, which is an integer, is the shift associated with this message. And a plain text message object inherits from message and has 5 attributes. And these are the 5 attributes that they give us. And so we're going to write the text right here. So let's delete that. Make sure everything is a tab. And then the first thing we have to do, because this inherits from the message class, then this is going to be a super dot underscore initiate, and then this is taking in the text. So now that we have this, we know the shift, so self.shift, that is just going to be the shift, but we have to make it self so we can use it without it being changed in other places. And then the encryption dictionary is self.encryption dictionary, and that is going to be self.build the shift dictionary, and then it is going to take in the shift. So here's what we did right here. So first we set the attribute of the text and then also the shift, and then we did the encryption dictionary, which is right here, which is just a dictionary built using the shift. And then lastly we had to do the message text encrypted, and this is just the self.apply shift, taking into consideration the shift, because this is a string created using the shift. And then now that we have this, we can move on to the next one, which is get shift. And this function is used to safely access self.shift outside of the class. So it should return self.shift. So we're simply going to return self.shift, and it is that easy. And the same for the next one. This says that it should return a copy of self.encryption dictionary. So we're just going to return, we're going to create a dictionary with the self.encryption dictionary. And there we go. So the next one is get message text, and this is to safely access self-message text encrypted outside of the class, and it should just return self.message underscore text underscore encrypted. So make sure to change everything to tabs. I just like to go over it to make sure I have all of them. And then we're just going to simply return self.message underscore text underscore encrypted. And then finally, change shift right here changes the self.shift of the plain text message and updates other attributes determined by the shift. And remember that the shift is an integer, and this new shift should be associated with this message, it should also be between 0 and 26, and there's nothing that should be returned here. So first change those, and then so here it says it updates other attributes determined by shift. So the first thing, let's make a copy of shift. So self.shift is equal to the shift. And then next, the the encryption dictionary. So self.encryption dictionary. This is equal to self.build underscore shift underscore dictionary, taking into consideration the shift. And then finally, the message text encrypted also uses shift, so we have to change it. So self.message underscore text encrypted is equal to self.apply shift, taking into consideration the shift. So how do we know which ones to use? Well, as we can see right here, we have the self-encryption dict, and then right here is the self-message text encrypted. And then before that, we have the self.shift. So basically, we had everything before. After in the class plain text message, first we had to initialize it. And then these three functions right here, it says for in the last one to change it. So we have to take into consideration everything here, and then we shall apply it with a shift so that it takes into consideration the new shift after everything before that we just defined. So not only did we just return everything, but we updated it right here, and the last function right here, which is change shift, should not update anything. And so in this episode, we have finished plain text message, which is the second class. It has a lot of attributes that we use from the message class. So not only did we initiate it, but we also finished it and talked about changing the shift after we did everything before. So in this episode, we have finished part 2, which is plain text message. And so in the next episode, we're going to be doing the next one, which is ciphertext message, and that is also another class that we're going to have to define with lots of functions and methods within it.